Hi guys and welcome to Top Rider. I'm Owie and I'll be taking you through our roadcraft video. This video was intended to help you better prepare yourself for your Q Ride assessment. But also the things that we'll go through on this video will help you be a safer rider on our roads. So on our roads we have hazards. We can break these into two basic categories: our road users and the hazards on the surface of the road itself. Now the difference between these two hazards is, one, we can directly minimise how much time we spend riding over it, and the other one, we need to be able to position ourselves so we can be seen easier, but we can't control their actions. And they are our road users, being other vehicles on the roads, cyclists and pedestrians, basically anyone else using the roads with their own mind. Now the surface hazards, they include such things but not limited to potholes with gravel, grooves in the road, tar snakes, metal, paint and oil. Now the thing about oil is it's generally in the centre of our lanes. Now the problem with riding over all this oil is our tyres are porous. They actually soak up this oil and store it in the tyres. What that means is it can then actually sweat this oil back out of the tyres. When you look at a lane, you actually see two clean lanes within a lane, and they are the tyre tracks. So as much as oil is dropped generally by four-wheeled vehicles onto the road, the cars or trucks then soak up the oil with their own tyres. Alright guys, we're out on the road, but where do we sit within our lane? Three positions: right hand wheel track, left hand wheel track, or the centre of the road. Which one do we choose? We recommend the right hand wheel track is where you'll spend most of your time on the road. And we'll get to the reasons why soon. A lot of people will suggest the left hand wheel track. Now the left hand wheel track, why do they choose that? Because they think they get further away enough from the oncoming vehicle. But they're often forgetting about the vehicle that's actually following them, which is more likely to hit them than the oncoming. And why is that? When we're in the left hand wheel track, we don't own much space or room. We'll call this our survival space. When we're in the left, we don't own much of the lane. So it gives a perfect opportunity for the vehicle that's following us to try and come past. Other reasons, when we get in suburbia, high dense areas which you'll be riding in, we have parked cars, which leave yourself open for doors. People opening up doors, pedestrians trying to walk out, and what about that truck trying to turn out onto the road? What it also does is it cuts down our vision. If I'm on the left here, my vision is cut down by all the vehicles. If I actually move to the right, it opens my vision up. But it's not just about me seeing all the other road users. I can control my actions, but can I control everyone else's actions within their vehicles? No. So what do I need to do? I need to ensure that those other road users actually see me on the road. When I'm in the left-hand wheel track, I cut down their vision as well. So this truck is trying to see me, isn't going to see me as quick as he can or as early as if I'm in the right-hand wheel track. So I'm in the left-hand wheel track here. There's a ute trying to pull out on the road. Now he would see me a lot sooner if I was in the right-hand wheel track. Once again, left-hand wheel track, and you look right in the distance, there's a van trying to pull out. Do you reckon he would have seen me sooner if I was in the right-hand wheel track? Okay, so the same road, but now we've decided to go on the right-hand wheel track. So now we own this area, which is our survival space, so we can control that whole lane. So this vehicle behind us, even if he is following too close, he's eventually going to get the picture and start to back off and give you room if you don't speed up and try and get out of the way. so we don't let ourselves get muscled around while the vehicle's following us. So you can see our vision now is opened up. So I can see a lot more of what's going on, but ultimately everyone else on the road will be able to see me a lot more. As you can see, that truck on the left, he would have seen me a lot sooner, which is a good thing. Remember, if they can see you, then they're going to react. So what about the vehicle on the right? Okay, he's coming towards us, but now we have a center line, or a center of the road, that we can use as a guide to see whether that vehicle is actually coming into our lane or not. And if he does, we can then head check and move out of the way. As you can see by riding along, I have a vehicle coming towards me. Boom! You can see he's over the center line. So I can move away and move back into the right hand wheel track. So we've established we'll spend most of our time in the right hand wheel track. We can control the vehicles behind us, and it opens up our vision and everyone else's vision to see us. It's like sitting in the middle of the road saying, hey everybody, look at me. This is where you will spend most of your time riding, and you should. So why don't we use the center of our lane? The center of the lane is where we're going to find most of our hazards that are going to potentially make us lose grip. And we'll go on with them shortly. The other thing is when you're actually following a vehicle, you always want to be seen in the side mirrors, not the rear view mirror. There's a lot of vehicles out there that don't actually have rear view mirrors, so you need to sit in the wheel track so you can be seen in the side mirrors. Now we're talking about if this is our lane, we sit in our right hand wheel track and our left hand wheel track. Don't get mistaken and think that we want you to go to the extremities of those. If this is all our oil within our lane, you can break up your lane into two lanes. If we border the hazards, where do we actually put our tyres? You still put your tyres just to the right and just to the left. What we find is some people will go all the way out near the white lines, but then their handlebars are actually going outside of their lane. Okay guys, what we've got is an intersection on the board. Dual lanes. If I'm going straight, I can go straight from the left or the right lane. When I'm turning right, I need to indicate, well, which lane do I go to? So if I'm in the right lane, I need to go to the closest lane provided, i.e. the right lane. Can I go to the left lane when turning right? No, I can't. I need to go to the closest lane provided. If I'm in the left lane, I need to turn left. Which lane do I go to? I go to the left lane. Can I go from the left lane to the right lane? No, I can't. Now we have a garden in the center of our intersection. What does it become? A roundabout. How do we use a roundabout different from an intersection? We don't. The only exception is now, once we're in the roundabout, we need to indicate our intention to leave it at the next exit. i.e., if I was in the right lane, wanting to turn right, I'd have my indicator on to go right. When I get to this point on the roundabout, I put my left indicator on to indicate my intention to leave the roundabout at the next exit. What you're doing is you're letting road users here know your intention to leave. Now, if I was going straight, I don't need to indicate to go straight. But as I get to this point, I need to indicate left to leave the roundabout. Same goes from the left. If I was going straight, I always need to indicate when I'm leaving the roundabout. Okay guys, here we have a basic drawing of an intersection. All the red lines indicate our hazards or our oil marks through an intersection. It starts getting quite messy. Our red arrows here indicate our white arrows on the road. Usually 3 of them in a row going into an intersection. What they usually have coming off to the sides as well is what direction you can go. So if we've got an arrow going straight, an arrow going left, and an arrow going right. Now we want to ride in our wheel tracks. And sometimes these arrows on the left and the right will go all the way to the lines. So we have to cross them. So what does that mean about hitting hazards? We understand that you can't avoid hazards at all costs, and we don't want you to. But where applicable and you can avoid hazards, you need to show us that you actually can. And it's beneficial for your own riding to form that habit of trying to miss them where safe. So where do we want to sit when we're going through an intersection? If I'm going straight through, I want to sit on the right-hand wheel track, because that's a better wheel track to be in, like a normal lane. I'm just going forward. What I need to do though, is actually make my decision before I'm past the first lot of hazards, i.e. the white arrows. I want to pick my left or right wheel track. Why? Because in that area there may be another hazard I haven't seen yet, such as a big manhole cover, which should in turn mean the left-hand wheel track is actually cleaner, because then I'd miss the manhole cover altogether. So I'd make my decision back here to go into the left-hand wheel track. The thing we see with a lot of people is they'll ride up here and they go, oh, I don't want to go over the manhole cover. So then they'll turn and go over all the oil and the white paint instead. So what they've just done is made a bad situation worse. So when we're at intersections and we need to stop, come to a stop in our wheel tracks. As you can see, I've put two riders side by side. We can actually sit side by side at intersections, but when we take off, we want to let the lead rider get away fast enough, so if he needs to move across left or right, he can. Same goes for turning right and turning left. Now if we're at an intersection and we want to turn right, we go to the right-hand wheel track. But if we want to turn left in an intersection, we recommend go to the left-hand wheel track. Why do we do this? It's all about minimising the amount of hazards that we actually cross. i.e. if we're going to the left from this wheel track, we actually miss all the hazards altogether. But if we're in the right-hand wheel track and we go to the left, we actually open ourselves up to riding on oil. Same goes with going right. Now regardless of the wheel track that you're in, to go to the right hand or the left hand wheel track, you're going to cross an amount of potential oil hazards. The key is about minimising it. So if we're in the right hand wheel track, we go to the right hand wheel track. If we're in the left hand wheel track, we go to the left hand wheel track. The difference of the amount of potential oil that you've hit is substantial. Now another thing that I've gone on with, as you can see, if we do our turns, we need to stay in our wheel tracks. What this shows us is that you can actually steer correctly and you're actually focusing on where you need to be in the lane. If we're in the right hand wheel track and you turn right, you need to finish in the right hand wheel track. You can't go out wide and then come back into your wheel track. Okay guys, if we're at an intersection and we have to turn right into a dual lane, which lane do we go to? We need to go to the closest lane provided. So we need to go from our wheel track to the wheel track of the closest lane. So if I'm turning right, I need to go to this lane, right hand wheel track. If I'm turning from the left hand wheel track right, I still need to go to the right lane, the closest, but in the left hand wheel track. One of the risks associated to going to the furthest way lane, there's usually always a slip lane that comes in. So what you open yourself up to is a vehicle coming onto that slip lane at the same time as you're entering it. So what's the difference between a roundabout and an intersection? A roundabout is supposed to be a free-flowing intersection. What we usually have though is a heap of trees or garden bed in the centre of the roundabout. So for this instance, we still want to stay in our wheel tracks, but we have to be aware of this gutter in the centre. i.e., if I was going around the roundabout to the right, if I'm in the right hand wheel track, I need to end in the right hand wheel track. Most roundabouts are on a bit of a curve, so the water will wash away from it. And then what we have is a gutter. Now when we're riding around and we lean our bike over, our peg gets awfully close to the ground. So if we're too close to that guttering, we can actually clip our feet. So another way of doing it is go to the left-hand wheel track and go around. Now when we're travelling around roundabouts, we need to ensure that we're checking our blind spot on our left for oncoming traffic. I.e., as I go around here, at this point, I'm checking that other lane to make sure that vehicle isn't coming out. When I get around to here, I ensure that I'm checking the other lane to make sure the vehicle isn't coming out. Do we need to indicate to go onto a roundabout? Only if we're turning left, we indicate our intention to go left. If we're going right, we indicate our intention to go right. If we're going straight, we don't need to indicate to actually enter the roundabout, but we always have to indicate off. So if I was going to the right, I would have my indicator to exit the roundabout on here. Okay guys, dual lane roundabouts. Now we've seen some outlandish things happen in roundabouts. Some people don't quite know how to use them correctly. Well, they use them in a way that benefits themselves, but they're not thinking about the other road users. As riders, we need to be aware of this. A dual lane roundabout is one of our biggest hazards on the road, where other road users can definitely affect our riding if we're not prepared. One of the simplest things with the rules is we need to select the right lane to go in the right direction we're going. I.e., if I need to go to the left, I have to go in the left lane. If I need to go to the right, I need to go in the right lane. But where I position myself from there is a key. If I'm going to the right, I'll position myself in the left-hand wheel track. That way, as I go around the roundabout, I stay away from the guttering and the curb. It also opens up my vision as I'm going around here from the garden bed to see around the roundabout. But also the other road users up here will be able to see me sooner. If I'm going to the left, I try and go in the left-hand wheel track of the left lane. I make that left turn as quick as possible, staying completely away from the roundabout. Now, if I'm going straight though, which lane do I choose? I recommend that you go to the left lane, right-hand wheel track. That way, as you go through the roundabout, you're not committing yourself all the way to the centre of the roundabout, thus making it easier to get through without any influence from other road users. Okay guys, what we're going on with is some poor roadcraft examples. These aren't recommended by us. For starters, as we can see, this rider is in the left-hand wheel track. Okay, riding by himself, he really cuts down his own vision. Too close to the cars, he's got the potential of pedestrians or doors to open up on him. Cuts down his vision, and also cuts down the vision of everyone else on the road to be able to see him. Okay, he's coming down to a roundabout. Yep, over all the white paint and oil, as you can see right in the centre lane. Should have done a head check there, which he didn't. As we can see, he's going around the roundabout, but he's not checking his blind spot as the other vehicles are trying to come on. And he's weaving around within his lane. This shows us as instructors that he's not focused on where he needs to be by looking ahead, or he can't steer correctly. Once again, on the white paint and following way too close to the truck. Coming up to an intersection, he's parking on the white paint. See how close he is parked to this car. Now if there's a car following him that is coming too fast, it's got the potential to run into his backside. That's why the car following us is always a potential hazard. You need to park far enough back so you're going to escape route left or right of the vehicles. Coming down to a roundabout, and as you can see, he's wanting to go right, but he's in the left-hand lane. Now there was no arrow that said you could turn right from the left-hand lane, so he's completely doing the wrong thing by the road. He's right along, just went over a manhole cover, and he's coming up to another intersection, right in the centre of the lane. Now we see this a lot when we get to intersections. People naturally resort back from going from a wheel track to the centre of a lane at intersections. We need to try and refrain not to do this. As you can see, the tyres Now we're both soaking up oil here. You can see the fresh oil, now it's on the tyres. Remember, tyres are porous, so they're going to hold that oil in them. Coming up to a slip lane, so he needs to change lane very soon. He's left it way too late. No head check at all either. Parked at another intersection, right on the white line. Oh, now he's taken his foot off the brakes and his hand's not on the brake at all, so there's no tail light, brake light on. And now he's taken off with both feet off the pegs. This shows very poor skill on a motorcycle. Now we've got some good roadcraft examples. Okay, as we can see, our rider here is in the right hand wheel track, plenty of distance away from the truck, missing the manhole covers. See, his vision is opened up, so he can definitely see all the hazards, potential hazards that could cause him harm. But also, all of the other road users are going to see him quicker. Coming down to a roundabout, as you can see, he's still in a wheel track, so he's not travelling on all the oil or the white paint. He's pulled up with enough distance away from the vehicle. See, good head checks, come to a stop, wait for the other road users to continue on. And you can see he doesn't hesitate. When he's good to go, he will take off smoothly. He doesn't balk at trying to take off. A little head check to the left there, moves into the right wheel track. Now the one thing with this, he's got to be careful of that curb. A head check to the left, now should indicate to the left to exit the roundabout. He's coming up to a stop up here, still off all the white paint and all the oil. And as you can see, he's giving himself enough distance from the taxi. Also, he can be seen in the side mirrors of the taxi. And he's checking his mirrors as well to make sure the vehicles that are behind him aren't coming too close. As you can see, he's riding along here. He's going to want to make a left turn down here. So he does a head check so he can move into the other wheel track. Giving himself plenty of room. He's got plenty of room on the left there where he can sneak down. As you can see, he's checking his mirrors and still checking his blind spot over on the left there to make sure no car was coming out of that street. As he comes down here to make the left turn, should go left wheel track into left wheel track. Now we're coming down to that roundabout where he did the wrong turn from the left lane. So he's going to be turned to the right again. He's in the right hand wheel track. So as he comes down, it's all clear, so he continues on. Checking his blind spots and the other slip lanes. As you can see, as he's going around the roundabout, he's doing his head checks, keeping a good distance away from the curb. Indicates to leave the roundabout. Now we have that same roundabout, but we're doing it from the left-hand wheel track of the right lane this time. Now what you'll see as he's going around, he's actually got more room away from that curb. You can actually see around the roundabout a lot easier. Other road users are going to be able to see him a lot sooner. Keeps a nice smooth line all the way through his turn. Indicates to leave the roundabout. As you see, he's coming up using his brakes, then he goes down his gears and he comes to a smooth stop with his left foot down only. Then checking his mirrors to ensure that there's no car coming up too fast behind him. As you can see, he's still at the intersection, he's still keeping aware of what's going on, looking left and right. He takes off smoothly. Now you can see the slip lane on the left. He did a head check on that to make sure no car was coming out. During your road ride, you're more than likely going to be with more people than just yourself. So we'll be riding in a group. Now there's two formations that we use when we're riding in a group. Single file, where we all follow each other like a snake. And then staggered file, where we're offset using both wheel tracks. When we ride, whoever the lead rider is, they will pick the recommended place to sit, or the better option. Generally, the right hand wheel track. Our next rider, if we're riding in single file, is in the right hand wheel track as well, but we need to be at the recommended distance of 3 seconds. When we go to a staggered formation, a rider can be in the left-hand wheel track between those other two riders. A recommended distance of about 1.5 seconds. If we have our other riders that are on the road, they naturally just fill in the gaps. So then we become this big unit on the road. 2 headlights, 2 taillights. So now when people look down the road, they actually see a box or a car, not 2 different bikes. We look like a bigger object, so we can actually ride a lot safer as a group, offset. But you don't need to stay in the left-hand wheel track or the right-hand wheel track the whole time. The reason why we stay offset is so we have the options of moving to the other wheel tracks as hazards approach. Same going for the person in the left-hand wheel track. If there's a lot of parked cars and it's a dangerous place to be, you don't need to stay there. You manoeuvre yourself away from the hazards so you're safe. Then when it's safe, move back to the wheel track. Okay, when we're riding on the road in a group, we have the potential to become a split group, i.e. from traffic lights, intersections, merging in and out of traffic. What you need to do is make sure you're checking your mirrors in case you have lost a grip. When you're being assessed, us as instructors will be at the rear of the group. So you need to ensure that we're actually making it through the intersections as well. So, i.e. check your mirrors regularly. If we do become a split group, so these 2 riders haven't made it through the intersection, but the other 2 or 3 have. What they need to do is find the nearest safest place possible where the whole group could pull in, regroup, and then pull back out. Now, a few examples of these isn't pulling over just over a crest on the side of the road, because it makes it very dangerous to pull back out again in a large group when traffic's coming over the crest. You need to think about the position where you sit that you can clearly see the road, which gives you enough time to pull out safely. Okay guys, P.P.E. We need to have the right P.P.E. Suitable footwear for when riding a motorcycle, as well as trousers, long sleeve jacket, suitable gloves, and of course an approved motorcycle helmet. Once we have all that gear on, that's when we're allowed to actually hop on the motorcycle and ride. You have to ensure that your chin strap is done up correctly before hopping on the motorcycle as well. When all that's all good, we can hop on the motorcycle, start her up. We need to check our indicators work and adjust our mirrors. Once that's all set, we are good to go. When we're out riding, one of the biggest hazards you can do is leave your indicator on. We'll often have people do this, so we'll give you this signal to turn your indicator off. You can also do this if you're behind someone, and we expect you as students to give this signal as well. When we're riding along and you can't keep up the speed and you start getting too far away from us as instructors, if we're leading, we'll give you the close up signal. That means to close the gap. If you're going too fast or you start getting too close, we'll give you the back off, give some space signal. So remember, ride within 1.5 seconds if you're in a left wheel track offset, 3 seconds if you're following the right. When we are riding around on the road, there's certain things we're looking for. System of controls, the way you're actually doing your braking and gearing down. Whether you're doing your head checks to check your blind spots or doing your mirrors. We're also looking whether you're safe, so how you're riding, whether you're going over all the hazards, and your perception of what hazards actually are by where you position yourself on the road. With your system of controls, there's 2 certain ones we particularly pay attention to. Whether you're doing your head checks to actually check your blind spots or the dangerous places where vehicles could be. What we need to do is indicate, mirror, and then head check. This is a big one when we're changing lanes. Our head check is always checking our blind spots. Our other one is our system of control, which you do on the range. This is for stopping or even doing turns, where we brake, then we gear down, and we come to a stop smoothly. We look for this even when you're going through turns, because it's the same system. We brake, then gear down. In this instance, we're coming to a stop, and then we check our mirrors to make sure that vehicle behind us isn't going to hit us. During your assessment, your instructor at the time is going to really clear up exactly what he wants and how he wants it done and what he's looking for. Any questions or queries or doubtful points during this time, you need to raise with him. Alright guys, thanks for watching our roadcraft video. Remember, this is just the basics of roadcraft to help you better prepare for your assessment for your Q ride. It'll also give you the basic techniques and hazard awareness to make you better out on the roads. If you'd like to know more or go in more depth on any of these topics, you need to look at our roadcraft courses. Now, to help you better prepare yourself if all of this was new information, even hop in your car, go for a drive, start looking for all these white paint, metal, oil. Actually look at what other road users do on the road and imagine you were on a bike. Better yet, you even have a push bike. Go for a ride on your push bike. Start looking at the road surface. When we start riding a motorcycle, we tune into these hazards a lot more. When you don't, you're just running your risk higher and higher and higher for the possibility of an accident.